Hello, welcome back. And of course, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tracy, and in this video, I'm going to introduce you to a little ghost girl named Lily, who lives at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. So stay tuned. The setting for Lily's story is at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in Weston, West Virginia. This building was previously called Weston State Hospital, and it also went by the name of West Virginia Hospital for the Insane. There are 4 floors in total, totaling at 242,000 square feet. So this building is ginormous. And it's on 269 acres in Weston, West Virginia. And it was the Virginia General Assembly who allocated the generous sum of $125,000 to build the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum back in the early 1850s. Now, this is obviously a time where people didn't know much about the mentally ill or if they could even be cured or healed of their mental illness. So there is a lot of interesting things in the design of this building because each of the patient rooms has access to views of outdoors and sunlight and all of that. So it was built with good intentions. So construction on this hospital began in 1958. Now, this is a very haunted location, not only because it was a lunatic asylum, but because it also has a history within the American Civil War. So when the Civil War broke out during construction of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, there were soldiers who actually, let's see, who was it? It was in June of 1861 where the 7th Ohio Infantry came in to Weston, West Virginia. And that is where it was at this location that they decided to set up Camp Tyler. And so there were barracks, and a lot of the first floor was also used for horse stables and things like that. But anyway, once that was over, they were able to finally finish construction on the hospital and start admitting patients. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was actually built to house 250 patients with privacy and comfort. But the hospital held 717 patients by 1880. It held 1,661 in 1938. And then over 1,800 patients in 1949, and it dangerously overcrowded in the 1950s, reaching 2,600 patients. But remember, it was designed to hold 250 patients with privacy and comfort. So obviously, the sad part about this place is that since it was a lunatic asylum, and we knew so little about mental illness back then that people were being brought here for all sorts of reasons. Those reasons could include things like laziness or masturbation or even menstrual issues for women. So, needless to say, a lot of people were at this asylum who didn't really have to be there for any kind of mental illness. So, sadly, in 1994, due to its constant overcrowding, the hospital decided to permanently close its doors. And so it's been empty ever since. Now, there was a man who finally purchased the building. Let's see who it was. It was a contractor by the name of Joe Jordan, and he bid million with the intention of revitalizing the property and preserving as much of the history as possible. Now, his staff, so the people that were working with him and things like that, began to realize that there was a lot of paranormal activity at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. So, Joe Jordan, the contractor, decided to open its doors once again, but this time to open the doors for paranormal investigation. And of course, that helped to bring in more revenue so that he could do more renovations. Now, currently, it's still, a lot of broken windows, there's dampness, there's leaking pipes. It's just definitely a setting for like a haunted place, just in general. But there's so much activity here that all kinds of different investigations have taken place. There's even been live paranormal challenges done there that are televised. So, I don't know if you guys could hear that, but that was loud. Anyway, so all of these televised events have actually increased the popularity of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum amongst other paranormal investigators and enthusiasts. I'll leave a link down below in case you're interested in checking it out sometime. So yeah, if you want to unfold the detail box under the video, I'll be sure to link their website there for you. But now I want to introduce Lily. Lily's room is the most popular room on the first floor of the asylum. Now, Lily is a ghost who lives here, but she's a child ghost who is only 9 years old at the time that she died of pneumonia. There are different theories as to what happened to Lily or who she even is, because as far as anybody knows, Lily wasn't really a patient there, and she didn't really have any parents. It was more like Lily lived there, and she was taken care of by the loving staff, and she actually enjoyed her time there. But she spent every moment she had inside the walls of this place, and it seems that she still doesn't want to leave, even after death. Now, Lily is one of the most popular ghosts of this place because she is so active. She loves to communicate with guests. She actually remembers people who visit often, and she is friends with many of the staff of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum today. So everybody loves Lily, and she actually communicates quite often. People catch EVPs of her voice, which is an electronic voice phenomenon. That's what an EVP is, where the investigator will take a recording device, and then even though we can't hear the voice with our own ears, it's picked up by the recording device, and then, it's heard later once it's listened to. So that's an EVP. But she also communicates through playing with balls, like rolling a ball back and forth, playing catch with people. And she loves to play with a little pink and white box that is a music box. And once the box is opened, a little ballerina inside is spinning. So she loves to play at the music box. And she even answers questions with flashlights. So she'll make lights flash for you or go on or off depending on what answer you're looking for, and so on. So a lot of paranormal investigators have spent a lot of time in Lily's room, and basically it's just because she loves the attention. So let's go to this book that I have here, America's Most Haunted. I've referenced this before in the video I made about going to the Villisca Axe Murder House. I'll link that up above if you haven't seen that one yet. It's pretty good. But anyway, in here, in this book, there's a whole chapter on this particular asylum, and Lily's story is highlighted as well. So let's go through here and hear some of the legend of Lily's life. So, according to an April 2010 episode of Ghost Stories, which is a paranormal investigation series that aired on the Travel Channel, a psychic named Tammy Wilson first discovered the spirit of a small child named Lily on a tour of the asylum. The girl was about 9 years old, wearing a white dress. Her mother, first name starting with the letter E, an only child of a prominent family from England, was brought to the hospital already pregnant. E was told her parents were killed in an accident and couldn't come back for her. She had to remain at the asylum where she gave birth. Both mother and daughter lived the remainder of their days at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. According to the producers of Ghost Stories, there were patient records from the 1920s which showed that a woman who had the first name beginning with E was admitted to the hospital while pregnant and later gave birth. So that birth could have possibly been a girl, and it could have possibly been Lily. Now, there was also an interview on that show. They had interviewed the local historian named Shelley Bailey, who claimed to have encountered Lily several times and leaves gifts for her as well. So she hears the distinct sounds of Lily all the time. One time she even gave her Cracker Jacks, like a box of the snack Cracker Jacks. And soon enough, she heard the rustling of the box and some crunching. And later she even heard a voice say, "Thanks for the snacks." So again, she talks about rolling the ball back and forth as well, because that is one of Lily's absolute favorite games. Here's another legend of Lily. It says here, in 1863, a woman named Gladys Ravensfield, abandoned by her husband, was admitted to the hospital after being savagely and repeatedly raped by a group of soldiers. Gladys not only was traumatized by the assault, but also found herself pregnant. She was taken to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, where she slipped deeper into madness, rocking robotically back and forth for hours. Gladys ended up giving birth to an infant girl who survived for only a short while. Now, in this version of the story, the staff at the hospital felt that the spirit of both mother and daughter never left. Lily, the name given to the child, actually grew up there, even if only in spirit form. She plays games with guests and has a fondness for sweets. Lily's tiny hand reaches out for someone to hold. Her mother's benighted spirit is locked forever in a state of shock and despair. Now, so that's a whole nother version of Lily's story. So we have the psychic who just kind of picked up on the first story of Lily. And now we have, in this version, it's more of like a legend. Now, this second legend of Lily was actually a fictional tale that so many people thought was true. Now, that story of Gladys, what was her name? Gladys Ravensfield, and who was abandoned by her husband, was actually on about.com, and it was written by Stephen Wagner. Now, it's a paranormal phenomena guide, and he created this story as, it's a fictional story, but it was to promote a ghost event coming up at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And it was actually a contest that was created trying to get people to submit their own fictional stories on how they think Lily ended up at the asylum. So sadly, some people believe that just because they saw it on the internet means it's true. And so that one kind of spread as truth when really it was falsehood. So if you ever hear Lily's story in that manner, just remember that one was a fictional story that was written for about.com. Now, there's another Lily tale, though, and this one asserts that she was indeed born at the hospital to a mother who couldn't care for her. Beloved by the staff, Lily lived her short life inside the walls of Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum until her death at age 9 from complications of pneumonia. Many similar stories circulate within the paranormal community with some wavering details, but the basics remain about the same. So all all of the Lily legends can pretty much agree that Lily is a young girl, but not only that, she lived at the asylum throughout her entire life, and she died there around the age of 9, and most stories say her death was due to pneumonia. So Lily was taken care of by the staff there and was raised there and was very happy. So Lily is a favorite to the guides as well as the visitors of this asylum. Her room is painted a bright yellow. It's a very cheery color, but with the time going by, all the paint's peeling, the windows are broken, and it's still very dark in there. But it is a bright and cheery color. And it also has toys all over because guests of this hospital bring her gifts and bring her snacks and try to communicate with her. And like I already stated, a lot of people are very successful in communicating with her. The guides there, the tour guides at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, actually have such a bond with Lily that they are always sure to tell people to always treat her with kindness and respect. So they do not want people to actually be trying to provoke her in negative ways or to make her sad or, feeling bad. Let's remember people who have visited often as well. So there's one person named Aaron. His name is Aaron Sulzer. He's a paranormal investigator. And he's investigated the asylum a dozen times. And Lily actually remembers him. So he claims that one of Lily's favorite games includes that music box and some flashlights. So here's his story of playing with her at one time. During a recent session, Aaron asked Lily if she remembered him, and if so, to please make herself known. He placed flashlights in different areas of the room, set up so that a slight twist on top would turn them on or off. Aaron wound the music box and began asking questions. A flashlight turned on, indicating that Lily was there. As the music slowed, the flashlight dimmed, only to return to full brightness when the music box was wound again. This occurred several times throughout the entire session. When Aaron asked if Lily was making it happen, he got a positive response. The correlation between the music box and the flashlight was so consistent, Aaron had no doubt that Lily was manipulating it. Now, that is not the only story of Lily that is not only in this book, but, you can find stories like this all over, and obviously even on the news or on the TV shows that have been there and things like that. But I just wanted to share just one little story, just proving that Lily remembered Aaron and remembered the game that he plays with her involving the music box and the flashlights. So what do you guys think? Is Lily the ghost of a little girl who used to live there? Do you believe the legend of Lily? And do you believe that ghost children can actually exist? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. But I do believe that there's a lot of compelling evidence when you consider the fact that people have found, have captured EVPs and have actually had different responses through flashlights and hearing the music box and having a ball roll back and forth to them. There's just so much evidence that something paranormal is definitely happening in Lily's room. So tell us what you think down below. There's just something about Lily's story that just captures my heart, but I think mostly because it's a story of a little girl whose life was cut short at the age of 9. And to me, it's also a little sad that she isn't comfortable enough to leave the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum even after death. So sadly, it's the only place that Lily knew in life. And unfortunately, it's also the only place that Lily has known in death. So that's it for the Lily story today, you guys. And I hope that you enjoyed hearing about her. And again, remember that I'll put the website for the asylum down below in the detail box. So be sure to unfold the detail box and check that out if you want to learn more about this asylum. And thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.